You're listening to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast, your podcast for escaping life's monotony, indulging in your wildest travel fantasies, and discovering the constant beauty of this ever-changing world.
On today's episode, we welcome you to Season 3 with our kickoff episode. Regan and Allie take you through what this season will look like.
Welcome to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast. We are your navigators, Allison
and Regan. And Allie, say it with me. Welcome to
season 3. I was like, what are we saying?
I was just going to see how that would go. But yeah, welcome to Season 3, listeners. We are so excited for this season, for another season of Wanderlusting Wives. It definitely would not be possible without all of you listening to our content. So thanks for being along on the journey. And if you have never listened to us before or kind of laughed along, cried along with us, welcome. We just want to say thank you for checking us out. We have a lot of fun here on our podcast, and we're ready to jump into Season 3. Allie, can you believe that?
I cannot believe that. I was making a post or a story for our Instagram today, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it feels so weird to say season 3 and go back to season 1 and 2. Like, our seasons go by years. So this is our 3rd year doing this podcast, which is amazing considering it kind of just started out as like a joke, like, haha, let's do that for fun. And now here we are 3 years later and feel like we're back and better than ever.
I know. Yeah, back and better than ever. And for those of you who are new here, our whole motto on the Wanderlusting Wives podcast is escape, indulge, discover. And this year, we're going to be doing a lot of that. We're going to be escaping from life's monotony because we all know how it can feel to get caught up in that like day-to-day drag. Indulge in your wildest travel fantasies. You might be sitting there dreaming right now about a location in your mind and just hoping and wishing that someday you can go there. And this is just an opportunity for us to kind of indulge in that and feed that passion. And then we're going to discover through guests and through us and our conversations, discover some new destinations that you might not have heard of, or even if you have heard of them, discover some new things about them so that hopefully when you're ready to travel there, you feel well equipped. So we have a lot of fun here. We share a lot of laughs. And like I said, we've probably cried too, because their travel can be really emotional and it can bring out some really deep things. And we love to hear about all of it. And we have some really great hosts lined up for this year. But it's just going to be the two of us kicking us off for this season today. And we're going to give you just a little bit of a snapshot of what you can maybe expect this season in terms of how our episodes might run a little bit. And then we'll kind of just chat travel for a little while, if that's okay with all of you. So Allie, you want to start by talking to us a little bit about how season 3 is going to look?
Yeah, season 3, I think, is going to look very similar to season 1. If you've been around for the very beginning to now, we are going to focus more on different destinations, whereas last year we tried to have an episode every week. We had Travel Tuesday and then Wildcard Wednesday, and Wildcard Wednesday was more for us to just have fun, chat as two friends, and then for you guys to get to know us a little bit more. So if you're looking for something more laid back, lifestyle, with a little hint of travel, you can check out our Wildcard Wednesday episodes from last year, but this year is going to be solely Travel Tuesday. We want to just make sure we're fine-tuning our guests. Not that our guests previously haven't been amazing, because they have been, but we want to make sure we're trying to find unique destinations that maybe the other travel podcasters aren't sharing with you, and then different experiences that people have had, because we've already had one person record with us, and it's an experience that I don't think many get to have, and we have some really unique destinations on the docket for this season. So more so destination-based and experiences than just trying to have an episode each week. We're really trying to make this the best travel podcast for all of you.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really great. We have some destinations, like at the end of last season, we got to hear about Antarctica, which I think is kind of the prime example of a destination that's super unique, that not many people go to, that not many people know much about. And that is kind of exactly how we're going to kick off this season. It's going to be, like Allie said, some unique destinations kind of in tandem with those stories, because we very much still believe that like those stories are always coming out of travel, and everybody's stories are different, but the destination is what's going to kind of lead us into those stories. And we're going to be having episodes every other Tuesday, so it will not be every week this year. It'll be every other Tuesday. You'll get a brand new Travel Tuesday episode, and it'll be a little bit longer than you're maybe used to. So we used to do around 30 minutes, and these ones are going to be closer to like 45, 50 minutes, something like that, just to get some good depth in the conversations for this season. And we're really excited about that.
Yeah, we're super excited. And something also to note is we're not going to be using our website this year. We really want to focus on social media, connecting with all of you there. We've also dipped our toes into something called Podmatch, which has connected us with some really great guests. So we would love for you to follow us on social media because we're going to kind of step away from our website this year. So if you're interested in being a guest, you're always more than welcome to send us a message on social media as well as our email. You can find us on social media. Instagram is at Wonderlusting Wives. Twitter is at Wonderlust Wives. And then Facebook is Wonderlusting Wives Podcast. And then our email is wonderlustingwives@gmail.com. So I know previously we tried to push you towards our website to fill out a form. This time, shoot us a message. If you're on Podmatch already, you can message us on there as well, but you're not required to be on Podmatch to be a guest on our podcast. But connect with us on social media, and we would love to hear some of your amazing travel stories, whether that was somewhere near or somewhere far.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really excited. And so we're gonna just spend this episode. This one, I know we said that season 3 episodes are gonna be a little bit longer. This one might be a little bit shorter just as we get kicking off and kind of get into the routine of the season. But I'd love to start by talking about our travels. I don't think we really had a chance last year in season 2, 2023, to share what our travel journeys for the year were like. And I know both of us had some really exciting travels. So let's dive into it. Allie, you want to share about 2023 in travel for you?
Yeah, I think I sprinkled in some of my travels for Wildcard Wednesday, talk about highs and stuff like that. So I guess now's the time to shine for my travel in 2023. So we started out in March. This year was kind of like I want to do some things that have always been on my bucket list and go to places or have experiences that I've never experienced before. So one of that was the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington D.C. that started us off in March. So we just went for a long weekend. If you're new here, I live in the Pittsburgh area, so D.C. is only about 4 hours away. So we made a long weekend of that, got to see the cherry blossoms, which was absolutely beautiful. We got to see a baseball game, which is a common thread in my travel experiences for this past year. So DC started us off, and then in May, we went on a cruise with one of Nate's childhood friends and his girlfriend. We just did a quick 4-day cruise around Memorial Day, and we went to Nassau, and then Carnival's Private Island, Half Moon Cay, or K, however you want to say it. It's a hot debate in the Carnival world, but it is a really beautiful private island that they have. So we did that, which we love cruises. We have, I think, 2 episodes on cruises from season 1, so we've got all kinds of awesome tips for you. So that was May. July, we were crazy enough to go camping with our 2 dogs. That was insane. It was thunderstorming and we were tent camping, and yeah, it was a hot mess, but we tried it, and
You're so brave.
yeah, we're moving on from that one because that was insane. I am crazy enough to want to try it again, but maybe when the dogs are older and the weather is going to be maybe more predictable. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because the weather is always unpredictable, but in July it seems like the weather is a bit more unpredictable with storms and stuff. So take 2 someday, maybe. We'll see.
Again, I will say, you're so brave.
Yeah. I do enjoy camping. Like, as you know, we both of us grew up going camping. I mean, you had the camper, but yeah, camping is fun. Not so fun with 2 dogs, but that's okay. And then July also kicked off. It was almost a 2 weeks. I think it was like 12 or 13 day vacation with my family. We started the first half with the Great Lakes. My dad had this dream of dipping his toes in all the Great Lakes, so we literally dipped our toes in all of the Great Lakes. Went to a bunch of different states, even including Canada. We popped on over there to get Lake Erie just because we could, even though you can get Lake Erie in the US. It was more fun to go in through Canada because then we were going up to like Wisconsin and Michigan and all that fun stuff. So that was the first half of that like 2 week long trip. And then the second half, Nate joined us. And we went to a bunch of baseball games. I think it ended up being like 6 games in about 7 days. So we were just boom, 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 like Minnesota. I think we did Milwaukee. So that's Wisconsin. Then we did Chicago, both Chicago's, Detroit, Cincinnati. We were all over the place. So that we made our way back around just hitting a bunch of baseball stadiums. And then let's see, that was July into August. September, we went to Lake Placid for Columbus Day weekend and just did a little bit of hiking there. The leaves were incredible. Highly, highly recommend checking that out. And we also have a New York episode that talks about the Adirondacks. Sorry, I'm not trying to plug us too much here, but we do have an episode all about New York State. Actually, I think 2 or 3 episodes. And then that takes us to December, my most recent trip. And we went to Europe from the evening of Christmas Day to the evening of New Year's Eve. So super fast trip. We did Paris, Amsterdam, and then Dublin, and that was another like bucket list experience where I had this dream of going to Europe during the Christmas time to see any Christmas markets or Christmas lights that they may still have up in between Christmas and New Year's. So that was a really great opportunity to see all of the amazing Christmas lights. So got to check off a couple travel bucket lists this year. Tons of baseball stadiums were checked off. So yeah, it was a really eventful year of travel, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it here shortly. But excited for what's to come this coming year.
Yeah, man, oh man, that is quite the full year of travel.
Yeah.
You spanned a lot of distance. It's pretty impressive. I'm wondering in all of that, did you have like a favorite trip or a favorite memory that you made this year through travel?
That's always such a hard question. Um, it was all amazing, of course, but I think I will say it was so cool, to do the Great Lakes trip. That was not something I had really had on my radar at all. Like, the town that we grew up in, Regan and I grew up in, is close to Lake Ontario, so I've been there before. Lake Erie's not that far, so I had been there. But to see the other Great Lakes, it was a really cool experience. We just had a lot of fun, and it was nice to travel as a family because in the first half, it was just my parents, my brother, and myself because Nate had to work. He was on a 10-day trip with his brothers, so earlier in the summer, so he couldn't take a bunch of time off. So he joined us the second half, but it was nice to just travel as just the four of us again. It had been a while since I've been married for almost 4 years now. Um, so that was really cool, and just to have fun and be silly, like, we, had different facts well, my mom had different facts for each Great Lake on a popsicle stick, and, like, it was my brother's job to hold it, and then we had to take a selfie in front of each lake, so it was just fun to be, like, silly and just kinda laid back and going on a road trip to see all these Great Lakes that I didn't really have an interest in at the beginning, but it turned out to be a really fun trip, and then the fact that towards the end of the trip, actually, my mom and brother had to go back to work. So Nate joined us. So it was just me, my dad, and Nate for the second half of the trip, going to all the baseball stadiums, which was really fun to be a part of that because all of us have the goal of going to all of the MLB stadiums. So that was really fun to experience that with my dad and Nate. So it was like 2 trips, but one trip really because I didn't leave the trip at all. So it was cool to almost have 2 trips on the same trip.
Yeah. That's so cool and such a unique experience too to like be married for 4 years, but then like go back to being just like the first like nucleus of your family and just like being silly. I think that's
Hmm.
you really do have to be silly on road trips. There are so many people who would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're crazy. You actually want to spend that time in your car?" Like I know my family got that growing up too and like when we are like, "Yeah, we want to spend time together." First of all, I don't know why that's crazy. Uh I understand that family means different things to different people, but like make time for your family if they're chosen or if they're biological, whatever it is, make time to travel with the people you love. You'll be so amazed by the memories that come from it. And Allie is a great example of that with this popsicle stick thing, which, yes, sounds just like your mom. So that's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
really
I
glad.
wasn't gonna expose my brother, but I guess I will because he's probably not listening to this. There's a joke that his big toe was so big as a baby that my parents would have to go out of town to get him shoes. So it was his job to hold the popsicle stick in between his toes as our toes were in the water. So it had the fun fact of the Great Lake that we were at, and then he had to hold it between his toe. Yeah,
Oh my
it's an
gosh.
inside family joke, so it's not as funny to everyone else, but yeah, it's just like things like that, like just getting to be silly. And my brother and I could harass each other in the car like we normally would, even though we're in our 20s. It's so fun to bother your brother and sing when he's trying to nap. Or we played car bingo that my mom's had from like the early 2000s. So it was just nice to feel like little kids again and travel as just like the four of us.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was great. Enough about me. Let's hear about your travels.
Ah, okay. All right. So my travels for last year started in March when I went out to, well, I flew to New York City for work, and then from there I flew out to Phoenix, Arizona, where my brother lives, and we went to, and I'm just gonna call it right now that the best memory I made this year was the Taylor Swift Eras tour. I went opening weekend of that, the event of the century, with my brother and my sister-in-law and one of their friends, and it was amazing. And I think back to that so often because how often, kind of like what you're saying, Allie, with like the difference in the makeup of the groups of your family, like the different groups that you can be in at any given time. And that was such a unique group for it to be me and my brother and my sister-in-law going to this concert that's like the event of the century. It was awesome. So that was like the purpose of the trip, but it was just really nice. It's always good to be out in the sun in Arizona, you know. Um from there, I did not travel again until May, when I had to go to New York City for work once again, which is always fun to go to New York City. It's the city. And then, like, when you're not working, you go and you walk around and you see cool things and you see a show and you eat good food. So that was in May. And then later that month, Nolan and I went for a 2-week trip. The first week we stayed in the Clearwater, Tampa area. At that point in time, we were looking at Tampa to see if we wanted to move there. And as the story goes, we did end up moving there. So we were really glad to have that week to kind of explore, go look at areas, go to the beach, like see what life was going to look like in Tampa. And let me tell you, I love the vibe of this city. It's so cool. And then the second week, my entire family, all 13 of us, convened at Disney World for a week of shenanigans. And if you are new to this podcast, you know that I'm a huge Disney World geek. We go there a lot. And we have a lot of fun, and there's a really special place in my heart for it. So I was really glad to get that week with my entire family, which is it's tricky to do because we're in 3 places now, so it's really special time. And then okay, that was May into June. In July, yeah, in July, we went to Pittsburgh to visit Allie and Nate, and we had a really fun weekend, and we ate some really good food and had some really good conversation and just had a good time. It's even if you're only traveling a couple of hours, it's the people you're with, it's the little things you do. That's travel too. So if you have the opportunity, do it. Um and then from July into August, I went to up to Canada to Prince Edward, not Prince Edward Island, but Prince Edward is in Ontario, right on Lake Ontario in Canada. We went up there with Nolan's side of the family, so his parents and his brother, and we basically just spent the week kind of at the beach. The house that we got was right on the water, so we got to, my dog Remy got to come with us, and he enjoyed all of his days jumping in the water and swimming after his ball with his life jacket on and stuff. And then we just found some good wineries and cideries and breweries. And it was just a pretty relaxed trip, but it was nice. Yeah. And then September, we moved to Florida. we moved to the Tampa area, and that's not exactly travel, but let me tell you, if you are driving ever 20 hours in a box truck, call us because we have some tips that we learned through our trip. So, and then October, my parents came down to visit, and we again went to Disney for a couple of days, and that was really cool for it to just be us and my parents. Like, that's also like at Disney. It's you don't think about that of like without kids, but that was really special. And then December we drove all the way up to New York for Christmas time, and that's it.
That's
It was
it.
a
You I was gonna say, that was a lot.
yeah, when I looked at this list of all the places I went, I was just like, wow, I did not realize I went this many places or like did this much stuff, and it just makes you really grateful. Like it's kind of clear that the two of us have a passion for travel and that we're prioritizing it a little bit. So go us.
Yeah, and I love that so much of our travel this year was with family. That's really cool that we've
Mhm.
had those different experiences, whether it was you with your brother and sister-in-law or all 13 or so of you in Disney or just you and your parents in Disney. So that's really cool that you've had those experiences with a variety of people just like I have as well. So I think it's really important to find your people, whether that be your family or your friends, and go make memories with them. Whether you're just driving a few hours or flying a few hours, make time for that.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have to be an elaborate excursion. It's just all about exactly what you're saying. So, that's what we're all about here on Wanderlusting Wives, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, we love it. Everything in between, far trips, close trips.
Yep.
We are all for everything. We are not here to be Instagram nomadic influencers, whatever's out there. We're just real people with normal jobs trying to show you how you can explore the world and still have really great times.
Yeah. So, speaking of still hoping to have really great times, let's look forward to 2024. We just turned the calendar to a new year. So, what are your travel goals for 2024?
Yeah, I only have one trip as of right now on the books. Now, rewind this at the end of season 3. I'm sure I'll have a million other things that I've gone and done. At least that's the hope. But the only thing I have officially planned is the end of June. I'm taking my brother to Nashville to see his favorite country artist. That was his Christmas gift this year. So just the two of us. We've never traveled just the two of us before. So that's definitely going to be unique. We are very different, but it's going to be memorable nonetheless. We're still trying to figure out whether we drive the 11 hours or fly. So we'll see if we end up, you know, pushing through and driving, how that's going to end up. But the destination is what's important. I mean, the journey too, but the destination will be really fun. He's never been to Nashville before. I've never even heard a single song of his favorite artist, so I need to get on that.
Who's his favorite
I
artist?
Zach Bryan.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, he's an up and coming artist.
That's
But
awesome. Oh,
yeah, so that is the only official travel plans as of right now. We are gonna try to find a time to come to Tampa because it has been too long since we saw you guys at Christmas, but like too long since we've come and just had a whole weekend to spend with each other. So Tampa is definitely high on the list. And then my family's tossing around the idea of going to Texas at some point this summer. My parents have been, but my brother and I and Nate have not been. And of course, there's 2 baseball teams there, so we can go see some baseball. So that's maybe gonna happen. We're gonna probably go somewhere. So that's just kind of a question mark. And then I think we just want to focus on doing more smaller trips this year since we did just come off of a big trip to Europe. Just trying to do more weekend trips where we can bring the dogs, we can drive, and just spend some time slowing down a little bit with travel. Our 5-year wedding anniversary is in 2025. And if you can go back 5 years, that would mean 2020 is when we got married. So we did not have a honeymoon. So our goal is for 5 years, we're going to do like a honeymoon type of trip. So we're just going to save up for that this year and try to do just some smaller trips in 2024.
Smaller trips, but sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, man, oh man. Yeah, and again, coming back to that theme of it doesn't have to be a flight. It can be a drive. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
But yes, please fly down to Tampa. We would love
Yes.
that.
We are trying to figure that out, so stay tuned for when Regan and I meet up in Tampa.
Yes, all shenanigans will happen. Awesome. Yeah, 2024, I was writing everything down and I was like, "Man, oh man, I did not realize I had all of this travel planned already." And I have to owe it to my mom, I think, because my parents are retired and they plan travel very far in advance. So when they're like, "Hey, you want to go here with us?" We're like, "Okay, let me look at my calendar." And so that's when I turned to 2024 and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I have like 5 trips planned." Which again, like I feel very privileged to be able to say it. But okay, so for 2024, Nolan and I are going to be spending a week in Phoenix in February, just to spend some time with my brother and my sister-in-law. They are pregnant, and so I'm really excited to just kind of like hang out with them, help around, and they have a little one also, and just kind of hang out with all of them and do some fun stuff, eat some good food. Phoenix has amazing food, so if you're a foodie, go out there. Um, then also in February is the month of visits from people. My parents are coming. Nolan's mom is coming. His friend from Boston is coming. But in the middle of my parents' visit, we're going on a 4-day cruise out of Tampa. It's pretty much just a time to relax and chill and eat some food. And but it does got to go to Cozumel. Not my favorite port, but we're just gonna, make the most of it. It's just about being together and not working, which is also great. And then in March, I'll go to New York City for work, which again, not really a trip. It's for work. But from there, we fly to London for a week, and that'll be a lot of fun. I've never been to London, so that's exciting. And that's kind of it for like what's planned, I think. And then we're hoping this year is our 5-year anniversary. So we're hoping this year to do some big like Eastern Mediterranean trip, might be a cruise. It'll probably be a cruise. We'll see what it is, but nothing set in stone quite yet. And then for Christmas, we'll probably plan to drive up to New York again and make time with family around the holidays now that we live in Florida and it's not so easy to just like pop in. So it's been really important for us to save that time and make sure there's family time around the holidays. So that's 2024 for me, at least so far.
Yeah, I'm excited. I wanna make sure we at the end when we do our, like, season wrap up, whatever, season 3 wrap up, I wanna listen to this episode before we do it and see how much our travel has changed,
Yes.
to see, like, okay, we said, "Oh, we only have, like, 3 trips," so then we end up having something, like, every month or,
That's a
however it
great
happens to turn out.
idea. Yes, I love that idea. That's perfect. Oh my goodness. Already talking about the end of December and it will be here before we know it. In between, who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to have a good time here on our podcast. So yeah, that's our travels for 2020 through what the heck is 2020 through? Through is not a
We're
number.
through with the year.
We are through with the year. Good riddance. Uh and then 2024 is upon us. But before we sign off for today's episode, there is a new thing that we're going to try out with our guests this season, and we're going to call it our Travel Blitz. At the end of every episode, there's going to be a section where we're just going to ask pretty rapid fire questions. And all we're asking from our guests is a quick response. And this is a good opportunity for all of you if you identify with the type of traveler or the stories or the destinations of our guest. It's a good opportunity for you to get a good snapshot of some additional tips or some destinations or just really listening and getting those like extra few little tidbits from the guests. So we're going to kick us off and just try it out, see how it goes. Allie and I are going to do it. So Allie, would you like to travel blitz first or would you like me to travel blitz first?
That's some kinda weird, like, time warp, I feel like. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so how about I ask you first, whatever that means.
Okay.
That means you're
So
travel blitzing first, yeah?
I'm travel blitzing. Not a verb, but it is now.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be hard because I feel like it's gonna be hard not to expand on our answer, just kinda
I
cutthroat,
know.
it is what it is, but
Yep. First
Here we
things that
go.
come to mind. Okay,
Are you
great.
ready?
Here we go. Mm-hmm.
All right. What is your number one travel tip or hack?
Use Google Sheets to track flight prices.
All right. Good. We can expand on the answers after.
That's really hard.
I know. How about this is the worst travel question anyone could ask, but we're going to ask it anyways. What are your top 3 favorite destinations? Because we know everywhere is amazing.
Okay. Iceland, Disney World. I don't know. Maybe let's say Yellowstone
Ooh.
National Park.
All right. Top 3 destinations that you want to go to.
Okay. I really want to go to Tanzania. I really want to go to the Maldives, and I really want to go to Croatia. That was
All
really
right. Are you
hard.
sure about that? You're like, Croatia.
You know, Allie, I'm not sure about any of this. I'm not really sure what's
Okay.
coming out of my mouth right now.
That's
It's
fine.
too
Sorry.
much pressure.
Yeah. I'm expanding. I shouldn't be. Okay. Next one. What's the strangest thing you have eaten while traveling?
Yeah. I've eaten a lot of weird stuff. I'd probably say though that the weirdest thing I've eaten is that weird, gross, like blood sausage in Ireland. I know it's like a tradition, but blah.
No further comments. Okay. All right. And then the top thing you can't travel without, obviously, like that's not counting your toothbrush or something. Of course, you need that. So, what's something you can't travel without?
Okay, that's an easy one. White noise, whether it's on my phone through Spotify or a white noise machine.
I like it.
Did I do it?
Yes,
did it.
that was it. Yeah, that was great. I think our top destinations might have something in common.
All right, let's see. Let's do this.
And the strangest thing I know I've already shared, but that's okay. It's my time to shine. I guess I'm ready to go.
It is. The spotlight's on you, Allie. You've got this. Okay, we're going to start off with what is your favorite or top travel tip or hack?
Use Skyscanner in conjunction with Google Flights because some people are all Google Flights, but also Skyscanner beats Google Flights sometimes. So make sure you're checking both of them.
And then use Google Sheets to track all of them and
Yeah, there you go.
drive yourself really crazy.
And we're not sponsored by Google, may I add. Okay.
No. If we were, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Your top 3 favorite destinations that you've been to.
All right. Iceland, of course. That was one that was going to be the same. Paris, which could be controversial for some people. And then Bolivia.
We have episodes on, I think, all of those. So go check them out.
We do.
And Disney World. We have lots of episodes. Next question. Top 3 destinations you want to go to.
Costa Rica, Thailand, and Greece.
Thailand's great. Yes. Okay. Strangest thing you've eaten while traveling.
Well, you have to check out the Bolivia episode. Just kidding. I'm not going to gatekeep you. Cow tongue.
Yep. Go listen to it. It's a good story, y'all. And finally, what is the one thing, the non-essential thing, but that is essential to you for when you travel?
A book. To read for leisure.
Yeah, okay. That's a hard one to not expand on. Can you at least tell us like what genre?
Really anything. I just recently actually read a book from one of our previous guests, Tyler Wachowski. He was, he is an author, and he is going to be coming out with a new book coming out March 12th to the general public. We were lucky enough to get our hands on a copy first, but it's called The Principal's Principles, about his grandmother who was the first vice principal in her school district, a female vice principal. So that was really interesting. If you're new, I'm an educator, so all things education. Also like romance novels when traveling. So really anything that's not heavy to read. It's just like light and easy to get through. Just something I can read on the beach, on the plane, in the car, wherever I might be. And nothing that's super like thick because I don't have a lot of space for a big heavy book.
Yep. Snaps to that. Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. We have officially wrapped up our first episode of season 3. We cannot wait to see what the season has in store for us. Until next time, wander on.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast. Come escape with us again every other Tuesday for Travel Tuesdays.
Don't forget to give us a subscribe and a follow on all of our social media and wherever you listen to your podcasts. And until next time, wander on.